Well, for more on this story, we cross to our reporter, Sipho Sturman, who's standing by for us. Sipho, what's the latest?
Well, good afternoon once more, Nompu, and our viewers at home, and welcome back to Irene here in Pretoria for the Summit on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. Certainly, it's been 2 days of robust debate as well. Delegates, 1,200 of them, are trying to find a solution to the scourge of gender-based violence. The numbers, I've been quoting them that they're quite high. Stats say 2016-2017 numbers, they're saying over 70,000 women reporting cases of sexual offences. We know that the crime stats have said that 291 more women were murdered in the past year in the country. So certainly it is a crisis, and the president did say that it is with a sense of shame and sadness. When we were speaking here on day one, that was yesterday, he said it was with a sense of sadness and shame that he has to listen to some of the stories that we heard here from women telling their stories of abuse. But what we've been doing here, we've been speaking to a number of women, just trying to get their sense of what they think is the solution, but we have not really heard from men. So I found these 3 young gentlemen here who've been attending the summit. So if you can just give me your name, your age, and where you're from.
I am Mutsao, and I'm from Virginia in the Free State, and I'm 30 years old.
All right, so you've been here for 2 days. What have you learned?
More than learning, I've just experienced that, yes, this is a crisis, but also as a man, as a black gay man in South Africa today, it is also important for me to continue to check myself, to continue to interrogate those thought patterns, those ways of being in the world that constantly harm others, and my own entitlement to do that to others. I need to constantly put myself through, a thinking process, rethink, relearn, so that I do less harm.
It's interesting you say, black gay men, often you would find that gay men don't think the issue of gender-based violence affects them.
Yes. I mean, if you look at the amount of violence among the queer community, where, gay men, I think gay men have also been socialized in the same world that, straight or heterosexual men are raised in. So the privilege that is ascribed to men and boys is the same privilege ascribed to gay men and boys.
All right, let's actually move to this other gentleman here. Also, if you can just give me your name, surname, and where you're from and your age, and just what you've learned here today, or what has struck, what has been the highlight for you?
Well, my name is SABC. I'm from Cape Town, 29 years old. A proud black gay man as well. What I've learned through this, the summit, is that we men tend to actually think that we're owning women's bodies. Patriarchy is totally not acceptable. I think the other thing that I've noticed in the summit is that in order for us to have a productive summit, I think if men, we also engage, we have a number of men that we part and parcel of this summit, so that we can be able to engage with them, and because men are the ones who are causing all this, all these challenges to women. So if we could also have a collective engagement, we also invite a number, a same percentage as we invited to women, so that we can have a productive summit.
All right, men need to engage more. Say, if you can also just come a bit closer, also give me just your name, surname, and where you're from.
Okay, my name is Luyanda Sebe from Cape Town. I'm 33 years old.
Okay, Luyanda, I mean, he's saying that men need to engage more on these issues. What's your take on that?
As a straight man, I think we need to engage more. We need to have lots of these conversations in our townships, with our parents, with our sisters, with our brothers. As a man, I think it's my duty to protect a woman. We were born to protect. Enough is enough.
And interesting that you say enough is enough. We had, these horrible stories, harrowing stories yesterday here of women experiencing abuse. How did you receive those stories?
They are very sad. They are very sad. South Africa is a horrible place. As a straight man, we need to protect everyone. It's our job to protect our sisters and brothers. That's my message to all straight men out there.
All right. And I've noticed that perhaps there isn't, as you were saying, maybe you can also jump in, there isn't enough males represented here. So what do we need to do as men to assist in this fight in terms of ending gender-based violence, young men in South Africa?
I think the media also can assist us by having workshops, by promoting summits, by having this dialogue. We need to have dialogues about this.
What are you going to do? I mean, you've been here for 2 days. You're going to go back home, Ekazi, Ekapa, in Cape Town. So what are you going to do now that's different, now that you've got this information and now that you've heard the stories?
I will have some dialogues with some men. I do facilitate some spaces, so we will have this conversation.
Yeah, maybe
India.
it won't end here. Maybe I can also get you gentlemen also in on this one, that of course you've had now this summit is the first of its kind. Clearly you've taken something out of it. So what are you doing differently going back to your communities after these 2 days?
I would say it is not useful for us to get such information and, you know, and the activities that were happening here. It is very much important that we go back home and start to implement some of the resolutions that we took from here to the summit. So it begins from home, as I always say. Starting from perhaps a group of 5 men, it will reach to, you never know, to the whole township. So it is it's a must for me to go back and sit with men, regardless of their sexual orientation, but sit with men and just have this kind of discussion in our own communities. We don't need to have this kind of discussions because of the presidents or whatsoever, but we can be able to have these kinds of discussions in our townships.
They need to be our everyday language. And you want to add to this as well, like what are you taking back home to your community?
Yes, so we have established the End Rape Initiative, and our vision is to make it unsafe for rapists to rape. I think the understanding is that it is, you know, anyone who gets raped's fault that they got raped, and therefore we'll say things like don't walk in the night, don't wear a short skirt, when actually it is rapists who we must speak to and say you are the one who is a rapist and it is you who must check yourself, you know.
All right, well, there you have it, the voices of young males that are part of this summit. They've been here for 2 days and they've taken a lot of lessons, and they are saying to us that they're going to take these lessons back home to their communities to say enough with gender-based violence.
Thanks very much, Sipho, my colleague Sipho Sturman there.